If you're like a lot of other people and you've been thinking about the AT&T situation that happened and you started thinking about how cell phones are very unreliable forms of communication, well, then maybe it is time for you and your family to get a family communication plan ready and going. See, a lot of people used to just grab some handheld CBs, and because of company lies and misinformation, they may not know that handheld CBs are some of the most unreliable radios out there. So what is it going to take for you and your family to have a reliable form of communication between each other while still keeping it readily accessible? The first thing that you have to do is choose what band or service that you will be talking on. And the way that you choose that is with a couple of things. Number one is, what is the minimum distance you're going to be talking on? Number two, what is the furthest distance you're going to talk through? And three, how clear do you need your audio to be? You may have a few other things that you're worried about too, like, are you worried about other people hearing you, or are you just fine with them hearing your communications because it is a lifeline? GMRS can go anywhere from only 1 mile all the way upwards of 100 miles with a repeater. The same can be said with amateur radio on the VHF and UHF bands. CB radios, while unreliable, may actually give you upwards of 200 or more miles of communication. Digital radios cost more, but at the end of the day, offer more security and the possibility of encryption. But choosing your radio is not the only thing that you need to worry about. I mean, we can run around playing radio with these things all day. But ultimately, you're going to need a few more things in order for your family to get in touch with each other when cell phones go down. Number one, you're going to need the proper antennas, because if you don't have the proper antennas on all of your equipment, well, then none of it's going to work anyway. Number two, you're going to need to set up a time for you all to call for each other. It doesn't really help at all if you need to call for each other at 6 o'clock and you're getting on at 6 and he's getting on at 7. So set up a time, aka we both meet on the air at 6 p.m. at this date once a week. There's also other things where you need to test out before the emergency happens how far your radio can go. I mean, I know that this radio here can transmit upwards of 30 miles to this repeater because I've tested it before. But even the same radio that I was transmitting over there could have a hard time if I just walked down the street due to how radio waves work. So don't skimp out on the testing, and don't skimp out on getting the proper materials, because that may actually be what makes you able to communicate with your family